welcome to the channel. I'm Jake. Thanks for tuning in here today. In this video, we're going to take a look at a relatively uncommon species to find around here, and that is American chestnut. Scientific name, Castanea dentata in the Fagaceae family, the beech family. We'll flip the camera around, take a look at some things. Stick with me. Start off with, this is a resprout of an American chestnut. It was originally that tall right there, the small twigs, not the large tree in the background. This is a top-killed American chestnut. There was a burn here last winter, I believe, and it is sprouting back again from the roots. We'll talk about that more at the end. Look at the leaf here. You can see the margin is very toothed. That's where it gets the name dentata. That essentially means toothed. And if you look right there, the little piece that sticks out that looks very sharp, it's actually not sharp. That is an extension of this lateral vein that comes out from the midrib and goes beyond the margin right there. That is where it gets that very sharp look. And if you look at this leaf right here, this is a very good example of the technical term for this shape, which is lanceolate, however you want to say that. Very wide in the middle and tapers at both ends like a lance point. So here is some bark on a sapling American chestnut, and unfortunately chestnuts rarely get a whole lot bigger than this, and I'll talk more about that at the end. But you can see the color on this one is off because it's been burned. I'll try to find another one that is closer to what it should look like naturally. But you can see lots of nodules on here. This is very typical for young chestnut bark. Sort of feels like very rough sandpaper when you run your hand across it. So that was American chestnut, Castanea dentata, and I do apologize for any background noise. It's beginning to rain a little bit here. But was not able to find a larger individual that has not been burned. So I will put a picture up on screen so you can see what that bark is supposed to look like as far as the color goes. So I got kind of lucky here. I was driving down the road from where I just was and just happened to see this off the edge of the road a little bit back in the woods. This is about the same size as the one that had been burned, but you can see the proper color here and also the presence of these small horizontal lines and dots. Those are lenticels. Those are present on a great many species, but may be helpful in identifying this. Younger individuals in this one maybe have a little bit more green in the color. Older ones may be a bit more brown, perhaps with somewhat of a purple hue. But here you can see what the bark is supposed to look like. The reason I could not find one is because of a thing known as the chestnut blight. The chestnut blight was a pathogen introduced to North America in the early 1900s. I forget the exact year. It's prior to the 19-teens. I'll put the year up on screen. But it was introduced to North America in the early 1900s. By the mid-1900s, mature American chestnut was virtually non-existent in eastern forests. And that was a huge hit to the environment for a few reasons. One of them, I've heard it said that 1 in 4 trees in eastern forests, on average, was an American chestnut. And when you remove 25% of the species composition, that is certainly not good for the forest overall. Another thing, ecologically, a loss of a food source for wildlife. The mast that the American chestnut produced, and this new word, mast, there are 2 categories of mast, hard and soft. Hard mast is essentially a nut. Think of an acorn or a hickory nut. And soft mast would be a fruit, cherries, blackberries, things like that. But the hard mast that the American chestnut produced was very, very high in nutrition. Not very many things can compete with the amount of nutrition held within the chestnut. So that was a huge hit ecologically. As far as we as humans are concerned, there was also a big hit, and that was a loss of timber. The American chestnut grew to very large sizes, and you could get a lot of timber out of a single tree. Lots of homes were built out of chestnut, lots of furniture was made out of chestnut. You can still find a lot of cabins actually that were built of chestnut that are still standing. It's a very, very rot resistant wood. It's very strong. And it's also a very pretty wood. If you're able to find a piece of furniture that's made of chestnut, It's really, really pretty. And if you are looking at something that is supposedly made of chestnut and want to check, there's a good way you can do that. You look at the cross section, the end grain of a piece of chestnut, and you look at the pores within the growth rings. Those are egg-shaped or teardrop shaped, which is kind of uncommon as far as pore shapes go. So that's a way you can check for yourself to see if something's made of chestnut. And that goes for logs in cabins and such too. But yeah, losing the chestnut meant we lost lots and lots of things. So it is a very unfortunate thing. Now, how does it work? I did not mention that. So when the chestnut reaches a certain age, the bark that is very smooth when it's young will start to split. Mature chestnut bark has ridges and furrows, and it has to split in order to form those. When the bark splits, the barrier to the pathogen that was there is no longer there. So there's a pathway for that to get in and kill the tree. Now, thankfully, the pathogen only top kills the tree, does not kill the root system. So they will resprout, as we saw with these that have been top killed by the fire. They're resprouting just fine. But they very rarely reach a size or an age where they can reproduce. So finding naturally occurring reproducing chestnuts is relatively uncommon. If you ever see one, I would love to know that they exist. I've only known one person that ever found one, and they would not tell me where it was. I was very disappointed. But if you do find one, I would love to know that they exist somewhere. I would love to know what state you're in if you find one. So leave a comment down below and let me know at least what state you're in. That would be awesome. But yeah, so I believe that's all I have for this one. Try not to make this too awful long, but I wanted to have some history on the chestnut and the blight. Hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions on anything, feel free to leave that in a comment down below. I'll try to answer it as well as I can. Until next time, go forth, enjoy yourself, and always come home safe.